Well, hi everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks for to Fred and Angels to Exit for inviting us, and hopefully we can share something of value here around revenue and selling stuff. So I always like to share why you care, right? Everybody's time is very valuable, and I just want to establish credibility and why this presentation might be of value to you. So I personally have either bought or grown and exited six companies. Last one was about 30 million, so decent size, mid market. My passion is to help entrepreneurs and risk takers succeed. So I really love what you guys are all doing in the world and how you're growing companies and hiring people and giving back to your community. So I'm very passionate about this, and our whole team is. We've got 16 people, and our team has over the past 10 years done about 330 success cases now. And knock on wood, we haven't failed. So we have a patented process that we've been doing, and I'm going to try to share some of that with you today. So, real quick, what we first like to do is really understand who you're selling to. So we like to gather that information. And, if you're a startup, it might be just gut, it may be a focus group. I like surveys. So, if you can find a demographic or somebody that fits who you think you're going to sell to, because that information, right, the demographics, psychographics, everything about them is a really important first step. The next thing is your go to market strategy. So, what we see a lot in the work we do is that people don't truly understand their competition. Sometimes competition is just doing nothing, right? They can not do anything or not change. And so I really like to understand your competitive set. And then what we do on the data gathering side is we'll secret shop yourself. So you want to see what the buyer's journey is, right? How they come through your company, what they touch. Did they do a web form? Did they call? How did they get to you? Really understand their journey through your company, and same thing with your competitors. And really understand the differentiation between the two. Why do they pick you, right? I mean, if you think I'm going to buy a car, now I'm going to buy a luxury car. Well, why did I pick a BMW versus a Mercedes? That kind of thinking. And then really understand how you match product and price. And, Fred is an expert at this. I really think that that's a big thing that a lot of companies don't do is they don't understand their competition and how to match up product and price. Next, client engagement model. I mean, this PowerPoint will be up for you to get. So I don't want to, this is a little bit of an eye chart, so I don't want to get into it too much, but really understanding more about the buyer's journey, how they get in, how they come across, who touches whom at what time through the journey, what artifacts or marketing, whatever they get through that to move them through the process. And the funnel, Angels, I love the sieve idea. It's the same thing, right? It's how do they start from the top and move to the bottom. And so whatever those sales steps are for you and your process, really understanding how they work. And we'll talk a little bit about metrics in a moment, but really understanding the sieve, right? How they come to the top, how do they get to the bottom? What are the steps? What's your velocity of revenue? And we'll talk about that next slide. And then the other thing is the marketing plan. So we've done this very successfully for some large companies that surprisingly never segmented their clients and then matched up the cost, because selling can be expensive. And so what I like to do is look at marketing. I don't, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, we don't look at marketing as anything but lead gen. We don't care about PR. We don't care about branding. It's so funny. We were on a call this morning with Microsoft, and they're talking about spending, I think it's like $16 million on this campaign. I'm thinking in the back of my mind, completely not measurable, but they're Microsoft. They can do whatever they want. So for us, mid-market clients, I really like to understand who's your high value client or sale, and what do you do with them? Is that a meeting, or do you, maybe that's a high touch? Do you low touch them? So maybe that's not quite a meeting. Maybe it's a phone call. And then the tech touch, all that really is automated, right? It's just emails, forms, things like that. Because it's when you start from the bottom and move to the top, it's kind of like going from a shotgun to a rifle. But that rifle, I mean, that's your high value MVPs. So they're worth a lot of money. So it's worth it to spend more time and money on them. And then the four P's. So this is what we do. If you start from the bottom left, and we've already talked about client surveys, this is the data gathering side, secret shopping, some high level market and competitive analysis, assessing your team because you want to match your team up with your buyer. And that's why we also do the stakeholder interviews. So this process you guys can do all day long because you really want to bring to yourself what your sales and marketing plan is, who your buyer is, who your people are, and how they're interfacing with your buyers, what the sales steps are. We talked about that with the funnel, whatever platform you're using. I highly encourage at least a CRM, but there's all kinds of cool enablement stuff out there. I mean, including, Pardot and automated marketing things. All those are great. You can get a little crazy with them. I just think CRM for sure. And they're all good, Salesforce, Dynamic, Zoho, whatever you use. But I just really encourage you to have some way to um, track tasks, track client information. So this is something you guys can do for yourselves, and I highly recommend it. And then when you do all of this work and you create your process, right, your revenue machine, if you will, the plan, the people, the process or sales steps, and then the platform, then you can start doing what I love. It's so simple. Sales is math. So I just had this happen a couple of days ago. So I wrote this on the left for you. One of my clients are like, oh, we are going to get 5 new clients before the end of the year. And I'm like, well, let's do the math. I mean, with all the holidays, you really only have about 35 days left. So for you to find a new client, meet with them, do a proposal, right? So you do the math through the whole process. That's called your velocity of revenue. How long it takes you to get a fish in the boat that you can eat, right? And all of your metrics, I put some examples on the side, just really understanding that, right? How much does it cost you for a lead? What's the value of that client? What's the revenue on that client, right? And the profit, because a lot of people don't think about that, right? What's your profit from that client? I also talk about a PETA factor, which stands for pain in the arse, right? Are they an easy client to work with? Do they refer you? And you can get that through an a customer satisfaction, like a net promoter score, easily done. You can survey your clients with that. So that's some of the metrics. And then this is a crazy one. I know Fred's going to make fun of me about this, but I'm really into the emotion or the reptile brain, and how people really buy. So what I've found, I'm an old person. You'll see by the last slide here. I've been around a while. I've been selling for well over 35 years, and I find that people really just use facts to back up their gut, their emotion, right? There's these little reptile brains in there kicking around, and how people think, what you the information you give them, the chemistry you have with them, how they make a decision, all that stuff is very emotional. So I do think this is something to look at. Have a glass of wine and think about it. But I find if we can understand where people are on this hierarchy, this is Maslow, Abraham Maslow. He published this forever ago, and I found it to be very good. One of my degrees is in communications and psychology, so I love this. Right? Are they, physiologically just out of it? Right? They're tired. They're hungry. Well, that's going to be tough to sell to someone. Now, if they're moving up, if they're looking for love, belonging, I find that's pretty good because you can sell to community, and then even further up, right? And start understanding what they get out of buying from you. What's their win, right? Because it's normally an esteem or love and belonging type of a thing. Like they want to be loved by their peers. They want to be respected for their decision. They want to trust you. And trust is a huge thing, right? So if you can get them to emotionally trust you, and if you can really deliver on that, you're going to succeed no matter what. And you can build something that grows. So that's about all we have for you. As you can tell, I put my picture there. You can see how old I am. It's very photoshopped. I'm about 45 years older than that, but I really appreciate the time. Love A2E and what they're doing. Fred, thank you for the time, and have a great holiday season and Q4.